All right, guys. So some of you in the chat already entered USO with me around 426 today. I just want to go ahead and explain to you guys the trading zones that we're looking for when we are trading this specific stock. Our entry was around 426, was around right over here where I'm pointing to with my cursor. Towards the end of the day, the stock rallied all the way to 440. Now, this trading strategy isn't just for this specific stock. This is really any kind of stock that you see a reversal in or you see a breakout in. You always want to set up some zones for your trade because, to be fully transparent, nobody in the world can tell you what's going to happen to a stock unless they're the ones that are driving the stock. They're the catalyst, but nobody's going to be able to tell you exactly what the stock is going to do. We can only set up zones and go ahead and trade according to them. So let me go ahead and explain the zones that I've laid out right over here. I've laid out zone 1 and zone 2. You can actually call this down here zone 1, I guess, but for this specific period, let's just call it zone 0 because I've already laid out the chart and I really don't want to do it. So let's go ahead and create zone 0 right over here and we'll paint that red. So right now, right over here, we're not really making much money. So if we entered at 426 and we're at 440, that's a very small move. We're not really making a ton of money unless you have a very large position. So our bread and butter is going to come for when the stock breaks out of 450, but we can't get ahead of ourselves just yet. So what we have to do is and this is just my strategy. If somebody else has a better strategy, please, make it known. But my strategy would be to actually hold the stock all the way to around 450. At that point, I would assume that the stock is going to become a little overbought and it's going to have a tough time breaking over 450, especially with the turmoil that the oil market is going through right now. So when the stock reaches 450, what we're looking for is for us to start taking some of our profits. The reason being is because now that we've climbed up from 426 to 450, it's a perfect time for us to cover that 25-cent gain, but we want to keep a small position in the stock itself. Reason being is because eventually what we would like it to do, and if things go well, we would like it to break into zone 1, which is the dark blue zone right over here. When the stock successfully breaks into zone 1, now what we want it to do is pull back. So if the stock breaks out this way, here, let me try to draw it out for you. So if a stock eventually breaks out and it goes up like this, what's going to happen eventually is it's going to become a little overbought on the RSI, and then it's going to have a pullback to around this area. So we already have a small position open at 426 and we closed some of it right over here. Now we have a typical breakout play where the stock goes up and that's number 1. The stock pulls back on number 2, and that's where we enter the stock, adding more to our existing position. So now this price target of 450, which was where the resistance was, becomes the new support. So we enter at an average price of around 455, let's say, if the stock pulls back to 455, and then we ride the stock up to price target number 2, which is $4.80. Now, we do this while maintaining a specific stop loss. Stop losses are just as important as these price targets. So if the stock hits 450 and it starts to go back down and it's showing no sign of stopping, then we may want to put a stop loss on that position that we held from previous. So as the stock goes up, you want to be raising your stop loss with it to the right targets while maintaining profit. So when the stock breaks into zone 1, it's gonna probably just kind of hover around, moving up and down before attempting to break 480 again. So we rinse and repeat the same exact strategy. All we're gonna do is we're gonna unload more of our shares right over here while maintaining a small position, take our profits, and then the stock will eventually move itself up to above 480. At least that's the plan. And you just rinse and repeat that, and that doesn't have to just stick to oil. You can do this on any share, on any stock. These are just very common trades. So that's pretty much my strategy around any kind of trade that I do. Obviously, different trades take different techniques, and you have to be able to read candlesticks correctly. You have to look at volume. You have to know where to place your stop loss, your price targets. So there's a lot that goes into trading, but if you break it down into different zones, then it becomes that much easier, because then you clearly set up your support and resistance, and you know where your stock is going, and you know where you should end your trade if things go south. Either way, I hope this helps. I don't make a lot of videos, but I'm going to try to start to. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, I guess. That's that what YouTubers say. Any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you have any questions about markets that you'd like me to do videos on, go ahead and leave them below as well.